Well, hello and welcome to our backyard garden in the South Carolina upstate. This is episode 5 here in 2024. It's March 10th. Beautiful day. We just finished our front yard video. Blue skies, getting close to 70 degrees. Just could not be a nicer day right now, especially for a video like this. We're going to start as we always do on this little hillside next to the house. We've got a lot of irises here. We have two types, white ones and blue ones. The white ones tend to bloom earlier. They're a little smaller. It looks like we've got buds for both of them right now, so it'll be interesting to see when they start to open up in a week or two. If we've got a mix, or last year it was all the white ones first, mostly in late March, early April, and then the blue ones were about a month later. But we'll see. I do see on one of the buds right here, it is a little bit blue. So I think we'll have a mix this year. Should be interesting. Some more over here, although these don't really have buds on them quite yet. I think they will later on. We've got a Shasta daisy here, which is doing pretty well. And probably won't get any flowers out of that for a while yet. I'm guessing probably well into summer before those start to flower, but you never know. And over here, this is pretty much a spring garden. It's mostly in the shade from these big evergreen bushes. So the sun doesn't make them wilt, and they tend to last really long. These are beautiful hyacinths. Had some crocuses here. They didn't really do anything flower-wise, but got daffodils that have been blooming for a couple weeks. Probably will give us another week or so, and then they'll be done. This is a yellow knockout rose. Did pretty well. Last year was its first year. It grew nicely, and then the deer ate about half of the plant over the winter, but it is doing fine, so it should recover pretty nicely from that. Same thing with the hydrangea here. Deer ate some of the seed pods, but really didn't set the plant back, and we're starting to see some leaf buds here. So this should start to green up pretty soon. More not hydrangeas, more hyacinths here, and tulips back in here. More tulips and daffodils, both in this area. Bright hyacinths here, and again, just a mix of a lot of different things as we continue back. Some things coming back from last year, some not. We have snapdragons that look like maybe they're finished up. We got a couple years out of those, but they don't look like they're doing too much now. Nice butterfly bush. When the time comes later in the summer, this will give us some beautiful purple blooms. And then we have petite knockout rose doing pretty well. This and a similar one down here did not do all that well. We have one in the front yard that did pretty well. In fact, it did really well. These two, not so well. But right now they look good. It was their first year for all three of them, so we'll see how they do moving forward. And then back in here we have a ground rose. Despite that, it's growing pretty high, about 2 feet up. Little lemon yellow blooms when the time comes. It wasn't an impressive plant, but better than nothing. And we have a lilac back in here. We'll see what that does. This is its second year. It looks like it has some little buds on it, so we should get some flowers out of that. We have clematis there, clematis here that's growing up along the fence. Another one over here. I need to train this up onto the fence, and while we're talking about it, I might as well just do that right now. Get that to grow upward. And then moving along, we have more hyacinths. We have some daylilies back in here. Down in here, digitalis. We have several of those. Look like they're all coming back pretty nicely. We'll see how well they do. They flowered beautifully last year. Our one viburnum in the backyard, it's covered with buds. This is usually our best viburnum in the entire yard. We have several in the front yard that do okay. They seem to be having a lot of buds now. This one I think will do very well when the time comes, probably another month or so when that starts to bloom. And more hyacinths. We have a lot of those this year, probably more hyacinths than we've ever had before. Our astilbe have just started to leaf out since last week. These are kind of a midsummer woodland or shade flower. So those are doing well. Lamb's ear, a little ground cover plant, doesn't really flower, but it does look kind of cool. And then over here, a camellia is giving us some beautiful red flowers. We have a couple others that I'll show you in a minute. This one doesn't usually give us a whole lot of flowers. This one got transplanted a few years ago, and it's never done as well as the others, but at least it's giving us some flowers, so it's better than nothing. Azaleas back in here, they're not quite ready to bloom, but I think they will before too long. And then over here is a wisteria that we planted last year. Not doing a whole lot yet, but I think it will when the time comes. Tends to bloom just a little bit later. The natural ones around here bloom in April. The ones we planted bloom about a month after that. This area is really going to be a question mark. We don't know quite what to expect here. A lot of things growing, a lot of daylilies, some climbing roses, but we had roses that got eaten down to the ground by the deer over the winter. So we really don't know how well this area will come back. Remains to be seen. Big azalea here. The biggest question mark is going to be this not climbing rose, but our knockout rose. It's the biggest rose plant that we had in the entire yard, and the deer ate about half of the plant. And usually this is more bushy, but it's allowed these irises to kind of thrive, and the jasmine up against the fence, those are doing well, along with the hyacinths. And talk about camellia. These are doing really well. I came out yesterday, it was raining, rained all day, pretty heavily, and these didn't look so good. But with the sun out, they are absolutely beautiful. This is the best that they have done since we've owned them, and that's been about 4 years now. I think we put them in the spring or summer of 2019, so they're doing really well. When the time comes, another couple of months, this area is just full of color. We've got jasmine, clematis, climbing roses, and so really from this point on out, we're going to have lots and lots of color. Climbing roses going up the arbor on both sides. Really, we should have. Well, I need to do some work with some of these vines. I keep saying that, but I haven't done it yet. But we have, for the first time, we actually have some growth up on the top of the arbor. We have not had that before. So I've been trying to get both sides to meet and have flowers all the way across the top. Looks like maybe we'll do that to some extent this year. Another camellia here. Really impressive with this sort of peppermint look. And then daffodils, climbing roses, just a whole bunch of stuff. Dianthus back in here, all kind of getting themselves established for the spring. And I just took a quick sniff of the camellia. I couldn't remember if they smelled or not. They really don't have much of a scent. I can smell something, but I'm not sure what it is. Some sort of flower that's out right now. But again, lots of jasmine up against the fence. And then we'll have lots and lots of climbing roses and clematis and this butterfly bush here, bright purple flowers when the time comes. These daffodils just about finished up. Maybe another day or two. And in fact, if it's really sunny today, it may finish them up. They don't do well with that. Tends to make them wilt pretty quickly. some clematis here. This area was full of 3 big knockout roses that just got eaten right down to the ground. And I've talked about this area before. It's kind of a dead zone. We haven't really had a lot of success here for whatever reason. Some things have done well, some not. Clematis seem to be doing pretty well. They're certainly doing well over here. Got big plants that have done very well. This one over here is completely leafed out. So we should have some nice flowers before long. And then our biggest wisteria that we've had for about 4 years now is over here. Not really doing anything yet, but I think it will. In another couple weeks, we probably start to see some leaf buds, and then after that start to get some flowers, nice purple flowers. I'm not even going to go down to the stone level. There's really not much going on there at this point. It's a summer area between canna and orange daylilies and black-eyed Susans. Those will do well starting June, July. So we'll start showing that off a little bit more later. Roses here, nothing much to show off. They're just getting their leaves right now, but flowers will follow probably in the next month, about April or so. We have calla lilies down in here. They haven't started to come out yet. I'll be curious to see what they do. We do have daylilies. They're doing well. Something was eaten out recently. You can kind of see where the either the rabbits or whatever ate away at those. Lilacs here doing really well. Right now it's just leaves, but I've got to think that we'll be getting some flowers before too long. We do have some buds on this lilac. This lilac was supposed to bloom 3 times a year. It really has not. We got it a year ago. It was a little bit of a disappointment, but we'll see what it does this year. Big clematis here usually gives us some nice flowers. Daylilies all through here, roses. Big climbing rose here. It's really gotten to be kind of a mess, and I kind of need to cut it back a little bit so that it's a little more under control. This will give us the little miniature pink rose blooms through most of the season. It bloomed last year well into December. Just an amazing plant, and so it should come back nicely this year as well. We've got our one blueberry here. It's got a few little flowers on it, very delicate little flowers. They kind of look like almost like lilies of the valley. And so we never get much growth off of this, but we'll get our usual handful of blueberries. It's a strange plant. It hasn't grown in the 3 years that we've had it, but it's still alive, so we just watch it and have a blueberry or two later in the season, assuming that they don't get eaten out by the birds in the meantime. And we'll have some hosta back in here. They're just starting to break ground now. Just barely see that. And then we'll have a lot of tomatoes back in this area too. They always come back from seed, far more than we can eat, that's for sure. But they're fun to watch. And that's about it for the backyard. Again, we're seeing a little bit more each week, and so we'll continue to do these on a weekly basis. Next week, we'll see how things go. We'll be out of town for a couple of days, but we'll try to get one in at some point, just show how the progress is going. So until next week, happy gardening.